Ladies and gentlemen, as you have just seen tonight, it's been for the FHA a very fast, full, and fruitful year since we last gathered here in this place a year ago. This evening we have the privilege, if you've looked on your program, to award 3 individuals in our midst who have given their lives to something bigger than themselves. These 3 tonight have earned the right to be honored by us this evening. So joining me on stage tonight is FHA Action Board Chairman Dr. Patrick Clinch, along with our 2016 award recipients on the screen, Pastor Craig Moore, Amy Wagner, and Sheriff Kevin Tome. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome as they come tonight. Tonight you will find in your banquet program a condensed bio on each of these award recipients. So we're asking you to take a moment to read them thoroughly and through, and to personally congratulate these recipients tonight following tonight's program. Thankfully, there is never a shortage in South Dakota of pastors, concerned citizens, and elected officials who have demonstrated exceptional work in improving the culture and raising the standard of service in our region of the country. The Family Heritage Alliance has chosen these 3 extremely qualified persons to receive our 2016 Leadership Awards. Tonight we present our John Peter Muhlenberg Award, our Pastor Leadership Award, to Pastor Craig Moore. Pastor Craig Moore is the senior pastor of the First Assembly of God Church here in Rapid City. This award is named after Pastor Peter John Muhlenberg, who understood the times in which he lived and thus rose to the challenge of defending life and liberty. Pastor Craig Moore is cut from that same cloth. He is not only my colleague, he is my friend and a mentor in patriotism. Pastor Moore is a go-to pastor in western South Dakota in our community of faith. When the FHA needed a facility to host one of our many area events, Pastor Craig Moore, under his leadership, has been quick to offer the use of his building, his facility, and his own personal assistance. When the FHA needed to purchase some 80 founder Bibles to gift some 80 elected officials across this state, he was instrumental in making that happen, along with members of his church family, some of whom are gathered in this place tonight. When it comes to the battles that we face on the family values front, my modern-day Pastor Muhlenberg is standing right here in Pastor Craig Moore. Tonight, we also present our Rosa Parks Citizen Activist Award to Amy Wagner. Amy Wagner, much like Rosa Parks, when seeing a need, doesn't immediately ask, "Who will do it?" Rather, she answers quickly, "Here am I." I want to personally thank Amy's husband, Eric, this godly man, this saint, for allowing Amy to do everything that she does. Time and time again, Amy has stepped up to the plate to answer the call with a spirit of service and sacrifice. She serves folks with her whole heart. She serves on our FHA West River Advisory Council. She serves with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association's My Hope staff in South Dakota. She serves on the National Day of Prayer team as the South Dakota State Coordinator. And along with Deborah Watson, Amy, and Deborah, they co-serve as this year's FHA Stand Banquet Coordinator here as well as East River. But most of all, Amy Wagner serves honorably as a wife, a mother, and a very, very proud grandmother. Yes, Amy Wagner is the perfect recipient of this year's Rosa Parks Citizen Activist Award. Last but not least, we present our William Wilberforce Elected Official Leadership Award to Pennington County's Sheriff, Kevin Tome. Ladies and gentlemen, standing here before you tonight is not only a county elected official, but rather a real statesman. Sheriff Kevin Tome is truly a modern-day William Wilberforce. You see, William Wilberforce was tenacious. He took on the long, lonely fights in the British Empire when nobody else would. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Sheriff Tome has been a partner and a friend of the FHA since its very beginning. Friends, it is a refreshing thing indeed to witness firsthand how an elected official conducts his affairs while publicly professing his biblical Christian worldview. He is indeed a rarity. Under Sheriff Tome's encouragement, the FHA's vision of establishing a West River Human Trafficking Task Force team has only but blossomed and become more effective. Under Sheriff Tome's encouragement, the Rapid City Sheriff's Department now prides itself with having a chaplaincy team in place for those moments of extreme stress and need. He continues to run his office of great responsibility with a flair of excellence. Friends, South Dakota Family Values has found a friend in Sheriff Kevin Tome. Folks, tonight on this stage, I sense that I am standing in the shadow of some mighty patriot heroes. Pastor Craig Moore, Amy Wagner, Sheriff Kevin Tome. You, my friends, have inspired us to take our conservative Christian family values to a new level, to a high level, to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please stand to your feet and give these three patriot heroes a warm thank you tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's right down fun. Thank you so much for joining me in honoring these heroes tonight. It is a humbling thing indeed to stand before you tonight, knowing full well that the Family Heritage Alliance is an organization that has had God's hand and God's favor on it since its birth, now just a little over 6 years ago. Friends, our purpose here tonight is very, very clear. We have come together to enjoy this fellowship, to financially consider partnering with the Family Heritage Alliance as we invest in the work that we believe God has called us to. For such a time as this, the FHA has been called to engage our culture for Christ through pastors, policymakers, the public. Our vision is very, very clear. We would that South Dakota be a state where God is honored, religious freedom flourishes, families thrive, and life is cherished. And so to accomplish this, we need a team. And so I want to take a moment to introduce you to several key team players who daily keep the FHA focused on her calling. They are not my leadership team, they are our leadership team. I serve at the pleasure of the Family Heritage Alliance and the FHA Action Board of Directors. These men and women pictured on the screen are people of the highest degree of integrity. They are absolutely committed to the FHA's mission and vision. And by the way, speaking of board members, will you personally join me in thanking FHA Board Chair and Pastor and State Representative Scott Craig for doing such a good job with a flair of excellence in emceeing tonight's program. Scott, wherever you are, thank you. Friends, you need to know that the FHA staff of 6 are not only my colleagues, they are my friends, and I salute them one and all. They continually go above and beyond the call of duty for their love of the mission and the purpose of the FHA. Our staff works out of offices both in Sioux Falls and here in Rapid City. In Rapid City on the corner of Jackson Boulevard and Sheridan Lake Road. We serve downstairs in this facility in Suite E for excellent. So we invite you to come see us. We are blessed with a strong East-West Advisory Council membership upon whose shoulders a significant workload is laid. Friends, we could not do what we do statewide without the dedicated hours of both our West River and East River volunteers. And to them, we say thank you, one and all. And finally, our 2016 interns. Friends, simply put, these young people make the FHA look good. Now, folks, they have shadowed both myself and Norman Woods at the Capitol during legislative session, but they lend a helping hand with the FHA throughout the entire year. This year's legislative session in Pierre at our state capitol was a busy one indeed for the FHA action. We supported or opposed some 33 different bills and resolutions. There was a religious freedom bill, House Bill 1107, which my friends will come roaring back this next legislative session. We celebrated the passage of bills like the sex offender bill and a private school scholarship bill. During this South Dakota legislature, South Dakota became one of the most pro-life states in the country, as not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 6 different pro-life bills were passed and signed into law. Hear me clearly. For the FHA, protecting the privacy, the physical privacy of all of our public school children was of great importance. We will forever be grateful to the 77 brave, disciplined legislators who came to our side and stood with us in support of House Bill 1008. Friends, this was not just a good bill. This was a great bill which simply fell to political correctness. Tonight, we are grateful. No, we are more than grateful to have in the House with us our Attorney General, Marty Jackley, who we want to personally thank for standing with us on this and other family-valued bills. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking our Attorney General, Marty Jackley. Tonight, as you leave this place, we want to encourage you to stop by our display at the front door on the right-hand side and pick up a copy of the 2016 legislative scorecard as we allowed the votes of our legislators to score themselves on how they stand on our values, as well as other materials you may want to take home with you tonight. And so at this time tonight, I would like to invite to the stage our Youth and Young Adult Coordinator, Norman Woods. Norman has served at my side in the halls of the state capitol now, at the state legislature for the last 5 years. For the past 2 years, Norman has joined me as a registered lobbyist with FHA Action. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Norman Woods. Norman.
Hey guys, as Dale said, my name is Norman Woods, and what Dale asked me to speak on tonight is why at 21 I'm involved in politics. And the simple answer is I really think this is where I've been put. For how long? I don't know, but this is where I've been put for now. And the longer explanation of that would be this. Okay, so name the name of Christ in public. You're going to ruffle feathers. Plain and simple, you're going to make people mad. It just always happens. And the explanation for that, Brad Stein puts it this way. He goes, maybe, because after 2,000 years, he's still intimidating people. So you name the name of Christ, you're going to ruffle feathers. That's just what happens. People call you intolerant, bigot, hated. Why are you forcing your religion on us? And that last one always got to me a little bit. I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was standing for truth, but it's like, why do I have to force my standards on them? I was still doing it, but it felt a little weird. But I got the answer and the explanation on a Wednesday night this summer. So in 1 Timothy, Paul says that the church is the pillar and the foundation of God's truth. Okay, so what? Well, think of the architecture of the day. When he says pillar and foundation, what's he talking about? Those great big marble buildings and temples. So those great big huge marble pillars, what do? They hold up the roof of whatever building they're in. So he's saying the church is the pillars and the foundation of God's truth, which is the roof. So if the church ceases to be the pillars, the roof has nothing to stand on. God's truth has nothing to stand on in society without his people. His truth would still be true, but it wouldn't have any standing in society, and it would have nowhere to stand. So when people start yelling at me, you're forcing your religion on me. No, I'm just holding up the roof. I'm just called here to stand. Now, this doesn't give us license to be mean, and we can't be a jerk about it. We're still Christians. People can be mad, but we can't intentionally make them mad. That's not what we're about. We have to have the flavor of Christ, a flair of excellence. If people could even take 10 seconds and actually get to know us, they should instantly see Christ's love. And we saw that at sessions here. If you want to know stories, come talk to us. People on the adamant other side could not believe how we could be so opposing but still somehow care about them. It's because Christ's love is supposed to shine through us. Christ said, they will know you are mine by your love. So yeah, sometimes you're going to make people mad. And in those times, just remind yourself, you're not forcing anything on them. You're just holding up the roof. And if they take even 10 seconds, they should easily see the love of Christ shining through you. Thanks.
Now I have to bring that microphone down. Thank you, Norman. Friends, the FHA remains passionate about those values that we champion and cherish throughout the years across the great state of South Dakota. They are primarily the protecting of the sanctity of human life, defending natural marriage, and championing our religious liberties and freedoms. We are honored to have associate partners with these 6 nationally highly esteemed organizations. Friends, these associations with them come at no cost to the FHA, but national associations like these bring assistance to our work here in the state of South Dakota. We are braced for the future. We are in great shape as an organization and a ministry to legally, effectively, and passionately tackle these tough issues of our day. In 2017, we will continue, by God's grace and your support, to strengthen our partnering ties and relationships with churches, pastors, and other ministries across the state of South Dakota. Thus, we're asking pastors everywhere to replace the muzzle with the megaphone, to preach from their pulpits the biblical topics of life, marriage, and religious liberty, and to encourage their people to register to vote and then vote biblical values. We will add hours to our current paid part-time staff and add additional paid and volunteer staff so that we might better accommodate the growing needs of our families and friends. We will improve and enhance our data communication system in the office. This will allow us to communicate more clearly, concisely, and quickly to you, our partners across the state. With your help tonight, we will become more proactive in the recruiting, training, and support for future family-valued candidates running for every office, from the State House to the County Courthouse to the schoolhouse. We will continue to cultivate and build relationships with our national conservative personalities who have earned the right to be heard when it comes to those issues of faith, family, and freedom. We will encourage them to come to South Dakota. And friends, they have said yes, much like Rick Green. On Saturday, October 29, we will host our very first FHA Action Public Policy Summit with keynote speakers like Matt Sharp of the Alliance Defending Freedom and Claire Lopez of the Center for Security Policy. We are geared up for Election Day on Tuesday, November 8th, as we encourage all eligible citizens to exercise their right and their privilege to vote. Recently, Franklin Graham shared on the steps of our state capitol, where 2,500 patriots gathered on Tuesday, May 25, these words: "I'm convinced that we are facing the most important election of our lifetime, as we as God's people have a serious responsibility to pray for our country, pray about the election, and pray about how we should vote. Then we must vote. Even when the choice feels difficult, our nation is on the verge of self-inflicted moral and spiritual collapse. If we don't take a stand for God's truth, America will not survive." And because the times are what they are, we are flying into South Dakota, Family Policy Alliance's President Paul Weber, to keynote a 2-city tour here in Rapid City and then in Sioux Falls, November 17 and 18. So check out the postcard found in your program tonight and make a plan to come join us here in Rapid City on November the 17th. In December, we'll be hosting our 2 legislative briefings here in Rapid City and in Sioux Falls. Then in January through March, it will be boots on the ground at our state capitol during the legislative session, lobbying for good, solid, family-valued legislation, during which time we will host on February 7 some 125+ pastors and ministry leaders at our annual South Dakota Ministry Leaders Capital Summit. Friends, on our watch, never let it be said that we did nothing, that we sat idly by. May we never be muzzled. May we never be silent. We believe there is always a way forward. We must engage this culture if we ever expect to change it. And as long as we can pray and act, there is hope for America. Friends, God is calling us in this room to stand up, to speak up, to never ever give up in our efforts to reclaim America once again. For we know, as we know, that we do not lose until we quit. May you know, and many of you do, that as I traveled the state of South Dakota, Norman Woods serves as a chauffeur, as a driver for me. And that's on purpose. So 2 things happen. So that I can get work done traveling across the state. In the last 5 years, I've put 230,000 miles on my Chevy Impala. And now my Impala is about ready to give up. But we will not. And so we do that so I can get some work done, and we do it so that we get to our destination safely. That's why Norman drives. But recently we were crisscrossing the state, and Norman rolls down the window on the driver's side, pulls up his camera, his phone, and he takes this South Dakota photo. Now, friends, I ask you tonight, was this a sunset or was it a sunrise? And as you ponder that tonight, I ask you another question. Is there hope for our state and our nation? Do you see it sunsetting or sunrising? Your Family Heritage Alliance leadership remains ever hopeful. We are resolute, believing this could be the church's and the Christians' finest hour. This coming year could be the sunrise that we have been praying for and working so diligently toward as we stand together for faith, family, and freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, you in this room tonight, you are our heroes. Your presence here tonight means more to us, encourages us more than you will ever know. As we continue to work together, we are the people that God has called us to this task. Tonight, you are the wind beneath our wings, and I salute you.